Alrighty then. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matthew Baker of Beautiful New York Tours. We are living in a time of a lot of social upheaval right now. The Black Lives Matter movement has certainly taken the country and in some cases the world by storm and is capturing a lot of attention, and people are beginning to pay real attention in a way that they haven't before. And certainly the subject of race and racial inequality in the United States is not a first-time part of the conversation. It's been going on for years. And it occurred to me that if we're talking about historical events, New York is certainly filled with them, and certainly filled with historical events that touch on this subject. So I thought, let's talk about that. It happened in New York. The year is 1934, and the place is Blumstein's department store on 125th Street in Harlem. Blumstein's had opened at the turn of the 20th century. Louis Blumstein was a German Jewish retailer who was one of the pillars of Harlem society back when Harlem was still a largely Jewish neighborhood. Harlem was second only to the Lower East Side as the primary settling area for the German and ultimately Eastern European Jewish community. But Harlem was changing. It is, of course, best known as a black neighborhood, and rightly so. And I do specify the word black as opposed to saying African American because, of course, a lot of people in Harlem are from the West Indies, the French Antilles, Jamaica. You have a lot of people who are now first-generation Harlemites from places like Ghana and Ethiopia and Senegal. So Harlem, while it is very much a black neighborhood, is not just an African American neighborhood, though, of course, it is largely so. And certainly one of the great ethnic enclaves of the city. So Blumstein's soon found itself catering to a very different community from the one it had been built to cater to. And that was all well and good. As the shoppers became more and more prominently black, those who were serving them at the sales counters continued to be white. Blumstein's refused to hire black workers for anything other than menial labor. You could be a janitor, but you couldn't be a sales clerk or a manager. By 1934, the outrage over this practice had simply become too much for the community to bear, and a boycott ensued. Enter Reverend Dr. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. of the Abyssinian Baptist Church. Abyssinian, one of the oldest and most influential Baptist congregations in the U.S. Just like his father before him, Dr. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. was the pastor of Abyssinian, and he believed very strongly in activism for his community. So while the boycott was underway, he joined it, and he eventually went on to lead it, and he provided a slogan, "Don't buy where you can't work." And eventually he won, and Blumstein's changed their policies. Now, the reason this is so important is that this is 1934. This is 2 full decades before anyone had ever heard the name Rosa Parks. 3 cheers for Rosa Parks. I'm not trying to sweep her under the carpet, but it is clear that when Dr. King organized the Montgomery bus boycott in the mid-50s and spearheaded the civil rights movement, he borrowed a page from Dr. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. and his Blumstein's boycott some 20 years earlier. Now, Blumstein's department store is no longer in business, but the building in which it was housed still stands right across the street from the legendary Apollo Theater and just catty-corner from the Adam Clayton Powell Jr. State Office Building, the tallest building in Harlem, in front of which is a beautiful bronze statue of Dr. Powell, very appropriately walking uphill. So these footsteps can easily be followed in on tour when it is safe to do so. It happened in New York. Please check me out at Beautiful New York Tours. You can search Beautiful New York Tours on Facebook or email me at baker.tours@yahoo.com. Again, that is baker.tours@yahoo. Thank you very much.